resonated with me so deeply because I am somebody who's so on mission to just expand love on this planet. Like everything I do, every decision I make, every course I create, every piece of content I create is aligned with expanding love on the planet. And I quite regularly host these sessions called spiritual medicine sessions, which is when I channel divine unconditional love and teach my community to do the same. And it's just literally pulling unconditional love through us and out the crown, out the palms of our hands and into everybody around us, right? Sharing love, compassion, kindness, and connection with everyone that surrounds us. And it increases our capacity as well. And so when I came across your call for peace and connection and respect, like I want to hear more about that. I want to hear where that stemmed from. Obviously there's chaos going on in the world, but what gave you the idea to get everyone together on the same day at the same time, and what is your mission? Like, fill me in.
So for the last year and a half, I've basically been on a path of self-discovery. I was always kind of an odd kid growing up, kind of an outcast. And as I made it into my adult life, I don't really know who I am as a person. Bless you. So I just did what I do and I started researching. So I'm not what you would call a spiritual person or a religious person. I am all about the science, the facts, the numbers. So I started off researching everything from quantum physics to sociology, psychology, philosophy, physiology, basically in an attempt to understand who I am. What makes me so different from the people around me. I know that I am on the spectrum, so obviously that creates a little bit of a difference, but I feel like there was more that I wanted to know about me. So I started researching really heavily in quantum physics, string theory, and that kind of leaded me into ancient mythology and religion and spiritualism. So and I think it's important to understand all aspects of something if you really want to understand it. And kind of along the way, I met my girlfriend about 6 years ago. She's big in the rave culture. So she taught me about peace, love, unity, respect. They call it PLUR. So that's where that comes from.
Hello.
But really, this is a social experiment, a very carefully thought out social experiment on unity. One of the biggest problems we have on the planet right now is uniting across borders and across cultures. And it's not to anybody's own fault. It is the way we have been born and bred into a system that is designed to keep us divided. So the question then became, how do we unite as many people on the planet as possible, regardless of race, religion, and culture? That makes it extremely complicated because beliefs are very powerful. Beliefs are the core of what most people have in their life. Everything is around their beliefs. So that makes it that much more complicated because of those same things. So that's where I took the peace, love, unity, respect. Well, then we also have to remember that people are complex when it comes to their daily lives. They only participate in certain things that they want to participate in, which means that if this was ever going to work, we needed to make sure that it was their choice, not because they wanted to follow a leader, not because it was the trendy thing to do. It's because people need to understand the power of choice, their individual choices, even the smallest ones. So then we made it decentralized. No leaders. There's no leaders to follow. That gives everybody their own power to choose and participate however they want. But then we break it down just a little bit more and go even simpler, and we don't make them travel. But the one comment I get the most is people telling me about the harmonic convergence, which I'm well aware of. And that was...
I'm going to quickly just check something because I want to make sure that this is working correctly. Sorry, I want to make sure that my AI companion is doing what it's supposed to be doing. I hope it is, because I want to make sure I get these notes afterwards. Sorry, can you pick that up?
Yep. So I get a lot, they compare this a lot to the harmonic convergence. Are you familiar with that?
Because I know that a lot of people won't be familiar with it.
Yep. So the harmonic convergence, it was 1987, I believe, August 16th and 17th. A gentleman named Jose Arguelles, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. He had this idea to get 144,000 people to travel to these epicenters all around the earth and meditate for that day. So that's kind of where the idea stemmed from. was the harmonic convergence. And obviously I looked into some of the other aspects, the Washington, D.C. experiment back in 93, where they took 4,000 people, meditated, and then for that 2-week period or whatever, violent crime had dropped some 20%. And then more specifically, I guess the Maharishi effect, which is like a social equation where it basically says that if you take 1% of any population and focus on something enough, you should be able to influence the society around you. So
I just have to mention this. I love that you are not a spiritualist that has really approached this from a scientific perspective and is trying to make sense of it from that side, because I know that even in my community, I've got people of all different faiths, from all over the world, but I know that certain people get lost. So the statistics and the research that you're sharing now is stuff that I have shared with my community at different points. And I think that it allows people to understand the reality of things. I've always said that science is just spirituality spoken in a different language, and if you translate things, then you find the same thing. The thing I want you guys who are listening to understand is that these research projects and these what do you call them? Not research projects, but what did you call them?
I mean, they're social experiments.
Social experiments. Thank you very much. These social experiments have resulted in incredible outcomes of expanded peace, of expanded unity. And there are numerous of them. And so you should definitely dive in and go and check them out yourselves. You don't have to take my word or James's word on this. Like, go and check it out yourself and see what you come back with. And you're welcome to send questions in the comments as well. But yes, James, I'm so with you on everything that you're sharing so far. Carry on.
Yeah, so you've got the harmonic convergence, the Maharishi effect, the Washington, D.C. experiment. Even Carl Jung back in the 70s did a whole bunch of research on collective consciousness. Only back then, I believe they called it the noosphere. And then even further back in the 1920s, they called it collective effervescence. So it's been around for a long time. But I guess my whole thing is nobody really understands it. And the reason why nobody understands it is because it's in so many different languages, whether it be spiritual language or physical language, so I wanted to be able to bridge that gap between the spiritual and the scientific. I believe that metaphysics and physics go hand in hand. And so I literally have spent the last year and a half bridging those two, but bridging them through language that a fifth grader would understand, because it's important that we break things down to things so that everybody can understand it. The moment you start adding things like spirituality to it, you lose one crowd. The moment you take away spirituality from it, you lose that crowd. So we have to find a way to be able to talk to people and explain things without losing them. So that's why we just stripped it all the way down to the basics. Decentralized, no travel, 4 words.
Oh, are you here?
There's nothing complicated about it, and everybody can make it what they want to make it. So it creates this beautiful kind of, we give people the choice. We tell them, do with it what you want, and people have just loved it. It's exploded. I can't even fathom how far I've come in the last 3 weeks, because it's only been 3 weeks since I made that first post. And in the last 3 weeks, I've gained 30,000 followers across my platforms from basically none. Obviously I'm here talking with you now. I talked with a lady in Spain last week. I've got a meeting with the president of Shine Music Festival in 3 hours. So it just goes to show that the smallest idea sometimes can have the biggest impact, which almost plays into this. It plays into the fact that peace, love, unity, respect being a focus should have an outward ripple if it's, en masse.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Well, what I love about this is that I truly believe that we are here to expand love. That's what we're here to do. We are whatever you call it, the universe, God, Allah, whatever you call it, in this human form, and literally having the opportunity of either choosing love or choosing fear in every moment. And if we choose love every time, we will never go wrong. We will never go wrong. It's when we choose fear, it's when we that's when things are nasty, or uncomfortable. But if we always choose love, always from a pure place, this is when we are on the right track. And I also really believe that with the way that consciousness is expanding at the moment and where we are going, anybody that is choosing love will just be supported in the most brilliant, beautiful ways. Like I literally, when I tap into it, it's almost like the ocean parting. It's like the universe is just like, okay, are you choosing love? Let's open up the, the waters for you and just let you glide through wherever you're needing to go. So I love that you're doing this. I think it's amazing. You are calling on people to, on the 21st,
21st,
March 21st.
Yeah.
So 1 p.m. Eastern, but you've also broken it down. So if people are confused, we'll stick the times on in the caption, but just taking 5 minutes to focus on this intention, right?
Just 5 minutes. And it's just 5 minutes, peace, love, unity, respect. Repeat the words, focus on them. And like I said, everybody's been kind of making this their own thing. We've got events all over the world now that are basically built around this idea. People doing day-long events, hour-long events, mass meditation. There's a yoga studio in New York City that's offering free meditation and yoga. A guy that I met named Tom, he's doing something out at his little nature place where everybody's going to do this and then go outside and touch a tree and spend time with nature. Yeah, so it's been, like I said, quite a response. I'm still just kind of in disbelief over everything.
Beautiful. I think it's amazing. I think it's so, so cool. I will also be hosting a live session for my community at that time in honor of this beautiful invitation that you've created. And what I'm thinking now is I'll actually pre-record a 5-minute little visualization for anybody who's feeling kind of stuck on what to do, that they can just go into it and listen to the words over and over again and just bathe in that consciousness. And I'll make it free. I'll make it a free download that people can dive into the link in my bio. I'll share it with you as well. That can just help them align with that beautiful vibration. But I just wanted to say, well done, well done for taking action and doing something about it and listening to the calling within yourself, because at the end of the day, that's all we can really do. There's so many people that are sitting around complaining about what's happening in the world or feeling fear about it, but not many people actually doing something about it. And what's interesting for me that has come up a number of times lately for some reason, and I'm going to share it with you, James, because I think that you would resonate with it, is I used to be in film, by the way, like in my past life. I used to produce feature films. Okay. Anyway, it was loads of fun, but I've always been obsessed with story and the alchemy of story. There's magic in story. And that's something that has always sat within me, is that there is alchemy in story. And from a young age, I've watched films and listened to stories from that perspective, like where's the alchemy, where's the story, And one of the things that I believe is that artists are here to show us what the truth of certain situations are. So there are certain films and certain scripts and certain paintings and certain sculptures that actually show us the truth of what is. And that's why we find them so moving, so intriguing, and so emotional. And I remember watching a movie when I was little. I was very little. I should not have been watching it. It was called The Dark Crystal. And it was a kid's movie. And I go like this because like no child should have watched this thing. And it was about these little happy creatures living on, on this planet. And there were these little dark creatures living, underground. And the dark creatures had this crystal that they needed to feed. And how they fed it was they used to steal the happy little creatures and they used to bring them down and then torture them. And their light energy would go into feeding this dark crystal, but they would wither and die. And for some reason, with the Epstein files and everything that's been coming out, I almost feel like this mirror, bounce back of remembering this and the energies. If we know that what we are attracts more of what we are, right? And it expands it. And if we are love and if we focus on love, we expand love, quite literally expand love. And if there are all of these dark, heavy things, if we focus on them, we're just expanding that. But if we focus on love and that feeling, that vibrational frequency of compassion, of love, even to the people that hurt us, if we think they know not what they do, even if you think they consciously do, their hearts, their souls are out of alignment, and send them compassion, because there must be something that is out of alignment there for people to do what they are doing. If we go from that perspective, then we expand love and we create that frequency. And I believe that every time we choose that, even in the most difficult situations, we are winning over that dark crystal, you know, as it were. And so, and that 1%, you know, the Maharisha effect, like, it's so important. There's been numerous things that have been done, numerous studies, numerous socialist experiments. And so we just focus on being that 1% in our lives, it will ripple out all around us. And yeah, anyway, I thought I would share that with you because it's just come up for me a number of times recently. And yeah, it's a crazy thought.
I know some weird things have definitely been popping up in my life since all of this happened that I have no explanation for. You know, like do you remember as a kid the cartoon show The Animaniacs?
Yes, I wasn't allowed to watch it. I was allowed to watch the freaking Dark Crystal, but I wasn't allowed to watch Animaniacs.
Animaniacs was definitely a watch as an adult now and look at all the dark humor. But they had these two characters called Pinky and the Brain, and their line was, "What are we going to do tonight, Pinky?" And Brain would say the same thing we do every night: try to take over
the world. Yeah.
So I was creating a meme about that for the Great Synchronization, saying, what are we going to do on March 21st? The same thing everyone else is doing, trying to change the world. I hadn't talked to anybody about this meme. I hadn't posted about it. And I get this message from somebody. I had no clue who it was at first. I realized it was one of my girlfriend's friends. And he's talking about Pinky and the Brain and Animaniacs. And I'm just sitting here as I'm looking at my computer screen with these cartoon characters on it. And I'm just like if that's not the universe, then, what is? So, but so
that taps into other research that you would find active thinking, right? We are not alone. We are all connected. And we know this through neuroscience as well. We are all connected. And you can have a thought and somebody in Russia can be having the same thought, and somebody somewhere else in the world, in Canada and Africa, everybody, and you see these collective thoughts. And we see this happening again in film, where you will see the same sort of film. It's like almost the same storyline, and then they come out at the same time, and you're like, that's so weird. How did two films get made with the same themes, similar storylines, and they're being released at the same time? It's almost like the universe is going, hello, pay attention.
So, I've been doing that for a long time. If you really pay attention to film and, music for the last 30 years, it pretty much narrates where we're at in history right now. And that just goes to show we've spent so much time focusing on, X, Y, and Z. And now that it's happening, everybody's like, oh no, what do we do? And that was kind of why, because before all of this, I literally was a nobody on the internet. I had maybe 1,000 followers, didn't talk to anybody. I never leave my house, for that matter. And, now that all of this has happened, what it really comes down to me is what you said earlier. Nobody's really doing anything about this. I see content creators all day long, and what they're doing is amplifying hate. They are promoting pain. They are trying to profit off of the bad things happening in the world. And I can't stand that. I am just over it. I'm a very minimalist person. I don't believe that materialistic things really matter. I believe that the connection between human beings is more important. Even if you don't understand the connection, making the connection is what's important. And, like you said, if we keep focusing on and putting that stuff out into the world, it's just going to keep getting worse. So we needed a course correct. I didn't know if it was going to work, and it was 1.5 years in the making, but I'm glad that I did it because, I read the comments. I have an inbox full of messages I'm still responding to, and it's not anything crazy. It is people literally just being like, thank you. I've been waiting for this. And that just lets me know that, it was the right thing to do. And, I made it decentralized because it's not about me. Like I don't care if people watch my live stream that day. I don't care if people share it or not. I want people to connect with the people around them, even if it is just reconnecting with an old friend or, you know, a family member, or because that's what we need right now is we need connection, we need unity, and we just need somebody to kind of be like, hey, stop focusing on that for 5 minutes. Let's just take a breather and really appreciate what we have right now. Because, like I've told people here in America, we can make the choice now, or 6 months from now, we may not have the choice anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. I mean, I think there's such a massive recalibration though happening, you know, when people go, oh my gosh, the world is a mess. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so much more good in the world than there ever has been. You know, I'm like so positive about where we're going. I really, really am. And that's why my focus is just on like sharing love. The other day, you'll laugh at this. I laughed at it. I'm getting a new business partner. And so he did an audit on my business, and he said ChatGPT or whatever, one of these AI tools said, apparently, like, I'm an influencer. And I laughed. I was like, I'm not an influencer. Like, this is what I do. So now I'm doing a series of videos going, apparently I'm an influencer. Oh my gosh, guys. Well, I hope I influence you to love more. I hope I influence you to open your hearts and have compassion for every living thing. I hope I influence you to be more conscious in every day, in every present moment. And that's what you're doing. So, James, I really appreciate what you're doing because there's no attachment to it. It's just being the love that you wish to see in the world. And that's all any of us can do. So I just wanted to, that's why I wanted to do this interview, because I was like, let's do it. Let's celebrate what you're doing. Let's expand love. Let's all connect as much as possible. The days of isolation really need to be behind us. You know, that saying, it takes a village to raise a kid. It's a true story. We should be connected. We should be supporting each other. We should be loving each other. We shouldn't, this whole personal development, listen, I studied it for years and years and years. Personal development and spirituality and all of these, there's also the toxic side that has been misguiding people, right? We're not supposed to be alone. We're not supposed to do it all by ourselves. We're supposed to love each other. That's where we expand. That's where we grow. So yeah, I'm calling bullshit on all of that. And I'm saying, guys, connect, live in love. I know it's scary sometimes. You know, I got my heart tragically broken last year, and it was brilliant because I hadn't like opened myself to love in like a year, like that romantic love. And it was so great because I used to hear the saying, you know, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. But I never really believed it. I'd go, yes, that's true. But now I like believe it fully, you know, and yeah, love your mission, love what you're doing. And we'll keep sharing the 21st. And I wish you all the best in everything you do going forward. May you continue to be the love that you wish to see in this world.
I'm trying. That's all I can do.
Yeah, cool.
Global synchronization. We can change the world by coming together for 5 minutes at the same time for peace, love, connection, compassion, and respect.